Hey guys, Superior David here. I recently hit an early legend with this Galakrond Zoo list, rocking like a 63% win rate over 80 games, and I just wanted to make a superior deck tech so you guys could do the same. Galakrond Zoo Warlock is really well positioned at the moment because it demolishes Highlander Rogue and Galakrond Shaman, which are two of the most popular decks on ladder. The games also go real fast, and the deck is relatively cheap to build for a meta deck. So I recommend at least checking this deck out because while it's not a tier 1 break the game sort of deck, it's a solid tier 2 deck that I think is going to stick around in the metagame. So now I'm going to go through the deck list and general mulligans and then the matchups. And after that, I'll play a game where I narrate every single play so you guys can really get some insight into how to pilot this deck. And then for those who want more, I've got a link to my Twitch VOD down below of my Legend Climb. There's just a ton of games there, so if you really want to gain more insight into how to pilot the deck, you can just watch a ton of games. So with that out of the way, let's get back to the list. It's pretty straightforward. You have your good Zoo early game minions that you're going to see in every Zoo Lock list. So that's going to be your Flame Imps, your Voidwalker, your Blazing Battle Mage, your Beaming Psychic, your Evil Genius, and your Knife Juggler. Then all the Galakrond cards because you really want that critical mass of invoke triggers to reliably get off a Veiled Worshipper or a fully upgraded Galakrond. Then we finish off the list with a couple Scarab Eggs and Grim Rallies. I was initially skeptical of the egg in this list, but you actually have a surprising number of ways to get value out of it here. And then the Grim Rallies I really like for value trading, as well as just getting that like last bit of additional burst sometimes to close out a game. These are definitely the flex cards of the deck, so if you want to change things up, this is definitely the place to start. Just because I like them doesn't mean you have to use them. I just, I like them. The biggest exclusion on this list is definitely the Faceless Corruptors. Originally, I was running a couple, but after like 30 games, I just found them to be a little clunky. The other noticeable exclusion might be Leroy Jenkins. I just found him to be unnecessary, but if you want to get a little bit more burst in there, hey, more power to you. As for the mulligan, like the deck list, it's also pretty straightforward. We're a Zoo Lock, so we want to overwhelm our opponent by getting on the board fast and snowballing that into a victory. So generally, you want to mulligan hard for a 1-drop, ideally Flame Imp, Voidwalker, and Blazing Battle Mage. If you get a Beaming Psychic, it's not the end of the world. You'll just feel a little sad when you play the turn 1 and not get value from the Battle Cry. Next important thing to mulligan for after a 1-drop is either Dragonblight Cultist or Fiendish Rites. Both these cards are powerful and allow you to start flooding the board and begin your snowballing while also invoking your Galakrond. Very powerful. And generally, the ideal hand when going first is 1 to 2 1-drops and either of the 3-drop invokers. And then going second, I think the best hand is having 2 1-drops and both 3-drop invokers. It just gives you like a lot of flexibility. Most of the time, you don't want to be keeping Evil Genius. I find that people keep this card way too much, and you're just better off with a 1-drop. And I'm going to say the same thing about Knife Juggler. I find that people get very greedy. They think that, oh, I have Knife Juggler, I've got these 3-drop invokers. I don't need a 1-drop, but you need a 1-drop. Your priority is to get a 1-drop. As for matchups, I'm going to start with one of the best ones, and that's going to be Highlander Rogue. We basically destroy this deck most of the time unless they draw perfectly or high roll us. I play this matchup quite aggressively and basically just curve out and force the Rogue to have the answers, since most of the time they won't have the answers because Highlander decks are very inconsistent. If they play the Necreum Apothecary, it's best to just ignore it and push face damage. Usually Apothecary is too slow to make a difference in this matchup, but sometimes you will get punished because the opponent has the Ziliax for the heals. It sucks when it happens, but most of the time they do not have that answer. Another key thing to remember is that Flick will destroy all of your imps, so be wary of that going into turn 6 because it feels really bad when that happens. Our next best matchup is Galakrond Shaman. The nerfs to Sludge Slurper as well as Mogu Fleshaper have made this matchup a lot more favored for the Galakrond Zoo. Before, you would get punished for going wide and it was hard to stick a 1-drop, but now your 1-drops just run free and they can't really punish you for going wide now. Voidwalker is the MVP of this matchup, especially if you could stick it with the Beaming Sidekick and buff the health. It takes a total of 3 2-1s with Rush to get through that, unless they have the Silence. And then they just waste their Silence on that Voidwalker. It's pretty great. If they don't get the Spirit of the Frog or the Zentimo, this is an easy win just by curving out and trading efficiently. Try to be ready for a turn 5 Dragons pack if they're double invoked, and be mindful of your minion placement for Zentimo. You gotta spread out those Sea Giants or you will get punished. Going into turn 7, I like to have a wide board just so if they do drop the Galakrond, fully upgraded on 7, because they always have it. That way, they're forced to trade their big ol' 8/8s with my little minions, and I could maybe just cheese out a win by like going around them. Definitely annoying when they get the Galakrond on 7, though. This matchup is still pretty favored. You do also like sometimes lose to Mutate Shenanigans or a Dragon's Pack you can't answer, but you do want to be queuing in this matchup. It's still definitely favored for us. This next matchup you're going to see a lot, and unfortunately it is unfavored, and that's going to be Galakrond Warrior. This matchup is unfavored mainly because the Warrior's Invoke effect allows them to clear off any of our early game minions. And then on top of that, they could also clear off our board of imps with 1 card, Awaken. It's very devastating when this happens, so you definitely want to be using your Grim Rally strategically to protect your boards. And you can never count the Warriors out of the game because of Scion and Ruin. you could be ahead on board and they drop the Scion and you just get totally locked out of the game. It's quite sad. I think this is the matchup where I use my Galakrond the most because at some point I typically get pushed off the board and you just need that Hail Mary to get that last bit of face damage in. You will also be queuing into the occasional Pirate Warrior, which is a bit more even because they don't have the Galakrond cards, which give us a hard time in the other matchup. But they can really put up a good fight if they get the Ankar on curve. But basically just fight for board and you should be okay. Face Hunter is falling out of favor at the higher ranks, but I hear it's still quite popular in lower ranks, so I'm just going to touch on it real fast. Basically, it's an unfavored matchup. The Hunter hero power just naturally has an advantage over Warlock. And on top of that, Face Hunter has Unleash the Hounds, which can punish us for going wide. Against Face Hunter, you need to play for the board in the early game. Eventually, there's going to be a point where they're going to ignore the board and start racing you face, and that's when you need to start racing them in the face. If you could drop a Shielded Galakrond or a Sea Giant while you have the board, I find this helps a lot. Sometimes I just drop the Galakrond for the armor gain. It can help you a lot and just buy you a turn. Fortunately, again, Face Hunter is on the way out, so I don't think you need to worry much about this. You're also going to run into the occasional Res Priest and Highlander Mage. You approach these pretty much the same way. You want to curve out and smork while not overextending into board clears. Try to have an idea of the removal each deck plays so you're not caught by surprise. Field Worshipper is really good for gassing back up when you're running low on cards. And in theory, these are unfavored matchups, but I went positive, so must be a superior thing. And now we finally get to the mirror, which you would think would be 50-50, but honestly, I think if you're going second, this mirror is just so unfavored for you. You could have the 1-drop on turn 1, but if your opponent's going first and they also have a 1-drop, it's just such an uphill battle because they just immediately have board initiative. Knife Juggler is really big in this matchup, and you want to make sure you can answer a turn 2 Knife Juggler from your opponent, since it just wrecks your Invoke Imps. It's nice to see the Juggler in the Mulligan, but if you don't have a 1-drop, that is the priority. I've won many a games because my opponent just gets greedy in the Mulligan, keeps the Knife Juggler, and I just answer it immediately, and then I just get my own Knife Juggler and snowball that to victory. The mirror is an intense struggle for board control, and the winner is typically whoever can maintain control of the board the longest, so just keep that in mind when you're making plays. Okay, so that's it for matchups. Now I'm going to queue into a game and just narrate all my thoughts so you can get a real sense of how to pilot this deck. And, this is pretty good. We got our Blazing Battle Mage, 1-drop. We got our Beaming Sidekick, second 1-drop. We don't really need the Grim Rally. I think this is a good hand. This is all right. Okay, so we have two options this play. It's either the Blazing Battle Mage or the Beaming Sidekick. I'm going to go with the Blazing Battle Mage just because it has better stats.
The fires of vengeance burn bright.
And, okay, that's unfortunate. Don't really care too much. We'll probably just play the Beaming Sidekick next turn. Because that's the good thing about Beaming Sidekick. It just contests the 2-1s very well.
Hey, I got you, friend.
I just want to keep the pressure on the board right now. I could have life tap, but then I'm just doing nothing. And now next turn I set up for the Evil Genius. Or if I top deck like Dragonblight Cultist or Fiendish Rites, this is decent. Yeah, very slow play from him. Oh, the Mutate. So this tells me that his hand is probably very bad if he's mutating a Novice Engineer. That was quite unfortunate for us. I think we will still Evil Genius this. We'll poke him in the face. Just because we have the Devoted Maniac to follow up next turn. Now we have the option to either rush this guy down, or we can use the Witchy Lackey. I think I'm actually going to... I'm leaning towards Goblin Lackey to clear this off, because right now we're going into turn 3 and he has the coin, so he could coin out his Devoted Maniac. So if I just like evolve this into a 3-drop, it's probably just going to die. So I think the rush is worth it. And the Lackeys are... Let's see, we'll make that trade. And the Lackeys are really good here, because they line up nicely again with the 2-1s. They have 1 health. This is just a 1-1. It lines up very nicely. So far, our start is a bit slow. That's okay. He was able to answer our 1-drop, so that was sort of to be expected. This seems like a turn where we can pull ahead. So now it's an easy Devoted Maniac turn. I mean, we could play the Field Worshipper just to get pressure, but I feel like that's just... We're wasting these. We play the Devoted Maniac. We trade here. It allows us to go wide. And maybe we could get a Sea Giant down. Very, very hopeful about the Sea Giant. Probably won't happen. Oh, dang. So that's probably gonna be a shielded Galakrond.
Will act as your scale.
That's a little rough. I mean, we oh crap, we can't even get the Sea Giant down now. Ooh, that's just annoying. But luckily we got a fantastic top deck, the Dragonblight Cultist. And honestly, I'm just gonna slap this down. Maybe I'll evolve. Actually, I'm gonna evolve this first.
Wish is my suggestion.
And then I'm gonna play this over here to play around a possible Zentimo turn. Just get the biggest threats away from each other, and then I'm not even gonna attack in. I don't need to. And now we're double invoke, so we could use these Veiled Worshippers. And maybe even get a Sea Giant down next turn. But yeah, like these 1/1s, like, if he just... Oh my goodness, this is going to be a fantastic trade for us if this happens. My Dragon's Pack, which could suck. See, there's the Dragon's Pack, but that's alright. We got a Big Daddy Sea Giant coming down this turn. I think we play the Veiled Worshipper first, just to draw, because maybe we get, like, Grim Rally. Will we play the Grim Rally? I'm not sure. But no matter what, we could get the Sea Giant down. So we're going to play the Veiled Worshipper just to draw first. You always want to draw first.
Yes, I will destroy.
And I'm notorious... Oh, the Grim Rally. This might change things, but it also might not. I'm very bad at math. So let's see, Grim Rally. If we Grim Rally, can we clear this board? I think so. This will be F4 and then 2. So 4, these guys can trade into here. Then we trade 3 into here. And we're going to turn 6. Or we could trade... Or we just can't clear this off. I think we want to go for the clear, actually. So I will do this. Oh, actually, no, we can't. I think we still go for the Grim Rally here, just to clear off this Dragon's Pack. And then we'll get this down, just because the stats line up better with the Elemental, and we gotta work fast here. That was a little unfortunate. I'd rather not have to use a Grim Rally that way. I'd rather just push that face damage, but we needed to do that, especially because turn 6 is the Corrupt Elementalist, and that's why I played the Voidwalker, because both of these guys will have to trade into this Voidwalker, and we're totally cool with that. Okay, so he's used all of his Hyrule stuff. Let's see here. We're going to play the second Veiled Worshipper, just draw some cards, gas back up. And then we'll probably just ignore this and go face. I was really hoping for, like, a third 1-drop. I think we'll just play the Flame Imp and the Blazing Battle Mage. Since we don't really have a way to take advantage of this right now. We just use a Grim Rally and an Evil Genius. So I'm not feeling too confident about getting something to pop this. We could life tap. I'm not crazy about life tapping. I think we'll Flame Imp. And we'll Battle Mage. And we'll pop him in the face. And now we're sort of just at a point where it's like, if he has his Galakrond, it's game over. That's just sort of how this goes sometimes. Okay, no Galakrond. That's very good. He's going to clear off these guys. But that's not the end of the world. Oh, we have our Galakrond now. And I don't think it's worth it to play this, even though we have the Kronks. I think we'd like the weapon. So I think we play the Shielded Galakrond to go wide, and then we just value trade here. Because I'm pretty confident he doesn't have the Galakrond, because he already had his Galakrond was already fully upgraded. But maybe we'll just slap down the egg on top of this to or we could just slap down Sea Giant, value trade Sea Giant. Sea Giant's a little sketchy sometimes because he could just freeze this. And I think I want to value getting the Invoke off now that we have our Galakrond. So I'm gonna go for the Shielded Galakrond.
I will act as your scale.
And then we'll play the Scarabag and we'll value trade here. I think that was correct. I mean, I guess I don't know. Maybe that was an incorrect trade. I don't know. I was just trying to play for board more. Oh god, so yes, he's gonna have his Galakrond in hand. That's a little scary. So now we just want to go really wide this turn. Just make his Galakrond play just not good. If we could somehow if we get both Sea Giants down, that's very good. Because then we like get, oh, ooh, yes, that's nice. We'll get both Sea Giants down, we'll trade here and just go face, and then he'll just have to trade his dudes in. I think we get the Sea Giants down. And make this trade. See, this is the math that I'm just not good at, but yeah, Sea Giant math. Oh, we actually can't get both down. Oopsies, because now I messed that up. Because now 2 minions died to set 4. So that was a misplay on my part. I think we'll still be okay, because if he Galakronds, I mean, he could take that 5 damage. If he takes 5 damage, or if he takes the 7 damage here with the 5 damage weapon, that's okay. That's 5 damage not in our face. We poke him in the face. Well, actually, let's life tap. Usually don't want to life tap last. Sort of messed that up, but I think we'll still be okay. Because I think now we could get our Galakrond down with our Sea Giant, which is so good. Oh yeah, he's got the access to the hero power, so never mind, that was dumb. Dumb of me. And we definitely want to get this down so we can invoke, so we can play the Devastation next turn. So we're gonna do this. And, oh, hells yeah, guys. So we're gonna do this. We're gonna get our Sea Giant down. I'm gonna put him down here, away from all of our other stuff. And I think I'm gonna face tank this damage here. This is a lot of damage to take. But if he can't clear his board, if he can't clear our board, then I think we just win. Oof. No Zentimo. No Zentimo. Well, he's gonna draw the Hex now. So he has access to Hex. If he doesn't have Zentimo, we're okay. So we're just waiting for him to make his move. Alright, so he's gonna freeze this. The Hex. Oh, dang. So yeah, I think we still win. So let's see. We got 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12 damage. 5 plus the weapon, so that's 17. We have 3. I think we put him down to 1. I think we put him down to 1, guys. Honestly, because I'm just like, okay, if he like does like a devastation to clear this board off, I think that's like the only way you could clear this board off. We just have stuff on the board. I don't know. I feel like this is a good play. I'm talking myself into it here. And maybe he'll just concede because he'll be like, I'm taking all this damage. But yeah, now this board's just really tough for him to deal with. Like, this Jiraxis is always going to stick, so I think we're pretty safe doing this. Sometimes you just gotta risk it, guys. Because, like, how does he heal up? He plays Shudderwalk, and he still can't clear off our board. I mean, I don't think you could really draw anything to make that work. Our board's too wide. So this is what Zoo does. You know, we overwhelmed him with all these minions, and we just got a bunch of face damage in. So right now he has to, like, he basically has to heal and, like, clear off our board, which is very tough for the Shaman to do right now. And I think he's just going through the motions. Oh, there we go. Yes, see, we got him, guys. So there you have it. We won that game. I even maybe messed up a little bit, but we made the superior plays. Thank you so much for watching this deck guide, guys. I hope you learned a thing or two. This was really fun for me to make. I'll probably be making more in the future. So yeah, hope it helps.